You're listening to Todd Bookspan's Real Talk on Intelligent Talk 960, The Patriot. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Todd Bookspan.
Welcome to Real Talk, the show that's about you. It's about rebuilding Arizona's housing and credit markets one family at a time. And I'm Todd Bookspan, NMLS ID 218341. And I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy Saturday to learn a little bit more about our local real estate and credit market. As always, I'm joined today by my co-host, none other than FICO certified strategist, Mr. Mick Bernard. Welcome, Mick.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here. A little warm outside today.
You know what? These weekends aren't, there's no cool front coming in for some reason.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's all right. So tell me about our credit segment. What do you have in store for everyone today?
Well, last week we talked about credit repair. Does it really work? And I think we established that, yes, it does. This week I thought I'd take it a step further and say we're going to talk about credit repair secrets that also work.
Ooh, wow. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, so before I give you a hard time about that, then let me just make sure I really introduce the real guest of today, the super important person who's here. I want to welcome none other than Tori Gannon with United Brokers Group, UBG, your realtor over there.
Yes, I am.
Excited to have you here. You were honored as 40 under 40 last year.
Yes, and this year.
This year.
Thank you for having me.
Both. All right, I missed that in my notes, so that's awesome.
That's all right.
So the person driving down the street, they don't exactly know what the 40 under 40 is. You mind telling everyone real quick?
Yeah, it's part of the Young Professionals Network, and the 40 under 40 is just to celebrate realtors that are not only producing, but they're also working in the community and care about helping out the association. So,
and I thought it was a great event this year because I was invited and I got to present a couple of I announced a couple names. I don't know if you'd say I presented anything. It's not like the Oscars or anything, but it was really cool. I mean, it was a really neat event. And
thank you.
But I do the people at the beginning of the alphabet, so luckily I had all easy names to pronounce, and it was a good time. I had a great time there.
Yeah, it's a fun event. I'm actually on the YPN committee also, so I helped plan this year's event, not last year's, but it's a great event. We had a great turnout, and we're hoping to do big things this year, actually.
Well, I have a question, Todd. So, Tori, to be a presenter, you don't have to be under 40?
Oh, thanks. Apparently not. Apparently not. That's okay. Plus, but my recommendation is if you're on the board for next year is that you guys just move it a little more in town. It was really far away.
Oh, okay.
But it was a beautiful house. I don't know whose home it was. It was awesome.
Yeah, we've heard that last year was a lot further. So.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Well,
so we thought that was better, but we'll take that and we'll run with it. Yeah, and we actually had a big movement for 50 over 50, but we'll see how that goes. I don't know if you're in that.
Thank you. I'm not in that group either. All right. Well, this show, Jeremy, let's just call this show early. But we do have Mick here. He's over 50. So
I resemble that statement.
That's all right. You got grandkids. You're proud. You do a good job at that. So I'm
closer to 60.
I'm only mid-decade of my 40s, and but I am proud of that. I'm happy to be very comfortable in my skin. So it's all right. I won't take that as an insult, and I'll still be really nice on this show to you, Tori.
Thank you.
And so I mentioned you're a realtor with United Brokers Group. I've had other agents from United Brokers Group. It's one of my favorite brokerages. Jeff Sutherland, the owner, is just a super great guy, and
I
he's
agree.
been on the show.
Thank you.
Hello, Jeff. Hopefully you're listening. I'm sure you're. I know you're right. He's out of town. Or no, he got back.
He'll be back today. Yep.
So that's perfect. But I think it's kind of a neat thing, and you're not afraid of the fact that obviously you've been recognized within the industry by your peers, but you're not afraid to talk about the fact that you're newer in the business.
Yes, I am newer, and you're right. I'm not afraid about it, but I am so confident because I think of the training that UBG has provided for us that we were required to complete a lot of tasks and know the contract in and out, and we were assigned mentors and closely watched. So I got a lot of training that a lot of agents never have received. So it's kind of fun to know what I'm doing, even though I'm only a few years in, and I love the industry. I love my job. So.
Well, and it's really interesting too because United Brokers Group, UBG, is one of the few brokerages that doesn't hire part-time agents. I mean, they
Correct.
only have serious realtors working there.
Yeah, it's so nice that you bring that up, and that's why I chose them. It was kind of cool when I started. I was part of the first group that they even allowed in that were newer agents, and that's why the only reason they let us in is if we were going to be well trained and going to actually produce. So I'm really proud to say that I got through their program, and there's quite a few of us that have, and they're very selective, and I'm proud to say I work with a lot of really high producing agents at UBG.
Well, I think the highest compliment is you said over half the deals you closed last year were referrals from other people within the office. So obviously they have confidence in you with their referrals.
Yeah, it's part of the policy. I mean, our culture is to help out everybody else, and the more we help each other, the better we will be. So yeah, a lot of the times I'd be in the office working hard on stuff, and people would offer to let me go along with their appointments or help out, or like you said, send me referrals because they're so busy, and that is, I believe, why I'm so successful today.
Well, I think that's great. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Todd Bookspan's Real Talk. We're here every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on AM 960, The Patriot. I'm joined in studio today by Realtor Tori Gannon with United Brokers Group UBG. Love to put you in touch with Tori. Just give me a call on the off-air number, 866-200-5252. Again, 866-200-5252. You can also learn more by going to ToriGannon.com. Now, Tori only has one R in EY, and then Gannon, GANNON.com, right?
Yes, not like Torrey Pines.
Yeah, no,
one R.
You know, that's good. So we'll keep putting that out there, and you also have a great Facebook business page as well, and I know you've got a lot of great content on there that you'd love people to check out.
Yes, for sure. I just taught a Facebook business page class yesterday. It's a great tool for everyone to keep in touch with their spheres. So
really, all right. So what are the top 3 secrets of Facebook business pages?
The top 3, I would say the number 1 thing is to schedule out your posts so that you make sure that everything is consistent. So you can schedule them in advance, similar to like a Hootsuite, so you can make sure you're touching everyone. To always use an image to make sure that everything's aesthetically pleasing right when they enter your page. And then number 3 is just to make sure it's stuff that people actually want to read.
Make
and
it
are
kind of relevant.
Yeah, and you know, I think part of that is that if they're part of your page, that they're interested in you. So you need to make sure that you also talk about yourself every once in a while, which I was expressing yesterday is a hard thing for me to do. But you have to push yourself because those are the ones that get the most interest and likes, and they want to see that you're a busy real estate agent.
You know, it's always funny that you say that because I know it's I always feel like I have a love-hate relationship. I was fortunate enough to go out of the country a month ago, and wasn't on Facebook at all while I was gone. And people were like, aren't you showing pictures you on vacation? And I thought, no, because I don't want someone to rob my house while I'm gone. But it's one of those things where it's interesting how people are really interested in knowing the personal side as well as the business side. And it's funny how many clients that I have that are my friends on Facebook as well as listeners of the show. It's just kind of funny to me that's how it is, and my high school friends and everyone else.
Well, and I talk a lot in my class also about how it's either that they are really interested or they also just want to know about your business, and that's why you should have a business page separate from your personal page. I'm not a huge poster on my personal page. I do get tagged a lot. I have a big family, so I tend to get tagged. But my business page, I try to redirect people there because that's where I'm going to tell people about the market or my listings, or they're obviously interested in real estate. On my personal page, if those are personal, they maybe don't want to know about my nephew's birthday party or anything.
Some will, some do.
Yes, yeah. And those people will go to my personal page. But I think it's a great tool, and I really, right when I had started real estate, I jumped right into it being, I think, in that age range, it was comfortable for me to market myself that way. And instantly I got numerous leads from people that were just so excited that I had gotten into real estate, and it's a great way for people to share my page, to pass it along to other people and see that, I'm doing real estate. I'm selling real estate.
There we go. And that's Facebook.com/Tori G Realty.
Yes.
Look at that.
Yeah.
See, my memory. I'm getting good. I wasn't even with my notes. But that's Tori, not like Torrey Pines, only with one R.
Yes.
See, there we go. Well, I think it's really interesting too because, as you use social media to push out the information, it's amazing to me that for most people I talk to is their source of knowledge, right? They're not going to CNN and learning about what's going on in our market. It wouldn't be accurate anyway. So it's really good to know that you can get that kind of information here locally. And you specialize primarily in the East Valley, correct?
Yes, I would say that. I mean, I'll go anywhere, but yes, most of my business has been in the East Valley.
And I think it's kind of interesting because the East Valley is big, right? People forget, how big the East Valley is, how many different parts of the valley are. And, it seems that the market has been so crazy over the past few years, from going from too much inventory to not enough inventory and then kind of more to a normal market now. Is that kind of what you're seeing?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yes and no. I came in with it being a very much of a frenzy of a market, and right now the good homes that are set up properly, are priced right, are staged right, are clean, are still going extremely fast. And then the rest of the homes are sitting a little bit longer on the market. They're going to have to be a little bit more patient before they sell. So it is steady, but the good ones are still going to go really quick, so people need to jump on those for sure.
So I heard a hint there, Mick. What did you hear? That are priced right, staged properly.
Exactly.
And so as we unpack the show, we'll dig into listings. We'll dig into some of Tori's secrets. We'll also dig into really, for you buyers out there, kind of what's important to know in the market today, because to me, that's the biggest key. I mean, I still am hearing things. I mean, there are other places in the country where we've got tons of bidding wars. They're hurting for inventory. There's still places in the country where stuff is just sitting there and not going anywhere. And the problem is that's what the people who are listening to the noise out there in the media are hearing, and it's not really our local market.
Correct. Yeah, and I really think that if everybody listens to their real estate professional and trust them, that they'll hear accurate information. I mean, here I do talk to my friends in Colorado, and I talk about the market in California, and it is very hot. Same thing, bidding wars. But here, trust your professional, trust whoever you're working with, and they'll make sure they get you a great home.
Colorado, because you are a Buffalo, right?
I am a CU Buff. Yeah.
That's, it's all good. It's all good. It's I almost went there, so I had to bring that up.
Yes.
Good school. But you guys have moved down to the desert. Your husband's studying to be a doctor.
Yeah, he's to be an NMD, a naturopathic medical doctor, and we're back here with our family. Both of us grew up here, and then lived in Colorado and moved back. And it's nice to be back, and that's kind of when I got back. That's when I got into real estate, and it's been wonderful.
All right, so here we are. We're wrapping out of this first segment, but wanted to swing back to Mick Bernard. I said I was going to make fun of him because last time Mick said he was going to talk with does credit repair really work. And I thought that's really odd. We've been doing the show for 3.5 years talking about credit repair, and if it really didn't work, then it would probably have been a waste of our time for all that time. And so you did prove that that credit repair does work. And now we're going to talk about some secrets in credit repair. So once you actually talk on the air, there'll no longer be secrets. Is that
That's
fair?
right. But I thought, only our listeners will know. So those of you listening, if you know somebody that isn't listening today, make sure you call them and let them know that we're going to let the cat out of the bag.
I think that's awesome. So this is Todd Bookspan's Real Talk. We're here every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on AM 960. The Patriot. We're back after these messages with Tori Gannon from United Brokers Group. Wonderful real estate agent. I'd love you to learn more about Tori by going to ToriGannon.com. It's TOREYGANNON.com. Or just give me a call on the off-air number, 866-200-5252. Again, 866-200-5252. We're back after these messages.
You're listening to Todd Bookspan's Real Talk on Intelligent Talk 960, The Patriot. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Todd Bookspan.
Welcome back to Real Talk, the show that's about you. It's about rebuilding Arizona's housing and credit markets one family at a time. And I also want to welcome back Tori Gannon, realtor with United Brokers Group. Welcome back, Tori.
Thank you.
All right, but before I get going, I don't never want to forget my good friend, Jeremy Siegel, super producer. Thank you, my friend, for always making us sound so good.
Thank you for never, ever forgetting that.
Thank you, that's just my goal. That's never, ever have I. Well, actually, I have forgotten you before. So, there's nothing worse than finishing the show and realizing that I stare into your eyes across through those hallway and through the glass and forget to say thank you. So appreciate you as always.
But you're good. Never, ever, but always.
All right. There we go. There we go. So we're just having a little fun here on the air. Hope you guys are all enjoying your Saturday. I want to thank you for taking time to listen to the show and learn a little more about what's going on in our real estate market. If you missed the first segment, you missed a lot of fun. Tori is a super producer herself with United Brokers Group. We really spent a lot of time talking, kind of getting to know her and talking about United Brokers Group. Now we kind of want to switch gears. Really want to just talk a little bit about, I think listing side, because one of the things that you mentioned was that the houses that are priced right, staged right, look good, are still selling fast and oftentimes with multiple offers.
Yeah, I can't say it enough. I post this on actually my Facebook business page that you have to do the work before you put it on the market. Otherwise, it will sit and you'll hate yourself later. So listen to your professional about comparables, and it's not as much of a market where you can overprice your home and people are going to come in and bid low. You want to price it right the first time, otherwise it's going to sit for a long time, even if it is beautiful inside. So price, I would say, is number one. People won't come unless it's priced right. And then when they get there, of course, you want it to look beautiful and be ready and prove that you're a motivated seller. So definitely making sure it's clean, decluttered, and if it's empty, even think about investing a little bit to get it staged definitely helps. And of course, the last thing would be that, if it does in fact sit, listen to your realtor, and if they encourage you to do different things, whether it's open houses, whether it's a slight price drop or any type of tactics, make sure you trust them.
Well, I think that's really important. And, as you're listening, this show is really designed to help you understand. Most of you are either going to buy or sell a home in the next few years, or somebody who is. And, the idea is to really pick up some tips and tricks and hopefully actually think, wow, I like Tori, maybe we're gonna sell or buy with her. But it's always interesting to hear that how many people don't listen to their agent. I worked an open house last weekend, and it was actually kind of fun. I drove out to Goodyear, and there was two stories that really stuck with me. There was one couple who came in, and they actually lived in Casa Grande, and they had a $300,000 house down there, which sounded like it was on the high end of houses. And they said that their house was on the market, and they got a offer that was low, and then they realtor recommended they counter offer, and they got another counter that was a little bit below that, but they were pretty close. But they still decided it was too little, and they decided, even though their realtor said, you know what, maybe either take this or just counter a little higher, they didn't, and then they only had one more showing and never sold the house. So here they are. They had to take it off the market, and I think it goes along with your advice of listening to your agent. They're the professional, and you got to kind of feel out the market. Yeah, most agents have had experience with that. I know that, a lot of agents that I've talked to will say, I will never, ever again take never ever take an overpriced listing, because you get yourself into a bad situation. And in the end, people tend to blame the real estate agent, even if we gave advice at the beginning. So listen to your agent in the very beginning, and you won't have that issue, and you'll get your home sold. And it's another mortgage payment you may be avoiding if you do it right the first time. Well, it's interesting you say that, because that was the other client who came in that had an interesting story, and I learned a ton from it and realized it's something that's perfect to discuss on the air, because they had their house on the market, and they were lucky enough. They bought it 2 years ago. It's gone up in value, and so they've that part's great. They put a lot of money into it, and they're really want to downsize. They're a retired couple, and they've had kids who followed them and have moved into the house. They're trying to squeeze the kids out and get something a little bit smaller, something one story, and so they wanted to come to this open house to see how this real estate team did an open house. So I thought it was great. Number one, they were checking out what the competition did, but they also had their house on the market before, and she, the client who came in, said that every time her husband sells a house, he always overprices it. He always overprices it, and she said, well, the first two times it worked. And they said, well, that was a different state and a different market, and here that's not the market right now, isn't to overprice it. And I could just see in the mind the agents were thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be a tough sell, because they've already got in their mind that here's what the house is worth, and they had their CMA, their comparative market analysis that they were going over, and there was definitely a big gap between what the husband, who wasn't there, was going to demand the house gets listed for, and in the end they were thinking about not taking a listing because they just didn't think it was realistic, and they wouldn't get the showings that the people were after. Yeah, and this is pretty common, and you hear great stories about all these homes that are flying off the market, but sometimes agents don't talk about the ones that they aren't able to sell, because you go into a situation like this. And those agents, it's fair, because we as professionals, we want to make sure that we can get your home sold or get you into a home and make it stress-free and make it really a great experience. So coming out of the gates in a bad position is never good. And that's why it's just so important to listen to whoever you decide to work with and make sure you trust the agent you work with. I think a lot of people also go with agents that they're not comfortable with, or they're not, they don't trust initially, and that's a big mistake also on the seller's end or the buyer's end, to make sure you're comfortable with your agent and you trust what they're saying, and you both will be on the same page and you'll get everything sold. Well, I think that's the key, right? I mean, oftentimes, certainly, I work with a lot of friends and family. I'm sure that you do as well, and you build that rapport, but, oftentimes I talk to clients who were really frustrated, and they went to sell their house, and they were trying to sell their house with their neighbor who, is a part-time agent, and I just hear stories, or their sister-in-law, and they have to use her, and oftentimes that's not the best, right? You've got to go out there, get a referral from someone. Obviously, I'd love you to pick someone who's been on my radio show, like Tori Gannon with United Brokers Group, who's my guest today. If you have questions, I'd love to have you get in touch with Tori on our off-air number, 866-200-5252. Again, 866-200-5252. It also seems to me oftentimes when I talk to clients, they actually went out and they interviewed 2 or 3 agents, and they said, I picked the one who came back and said they could sell it for the most. And oftentimes, to me, that's a red flag.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to, it's called buying a listing, and you don't want to do that as an agent or if you're the client. If there are some red flags that you should go up for anyone that's looking to sell their home, if someone comes in and their numbers are drastically different or they're not using current, recent sold comparables that are similar to your home, there's a lot of different issues there. I think that if everyone remembers to listen, talk to your family, friends and family, and then if you've had a good realtor experience, like I definitely talk to my clients and say if you enjoyed your experience with me, then tell your friends and family so that they can have the same experience. And everyone should be encouraged to do that, to refer your friends to their favorite realtor, because it will totally make a big difference. It's one of the biggest sales and one of the biggest purchases of your life, so you want to make sure you do it with someone that you really like and trust.
That was so eloquent. I really love that because I actually listened to a webinar put on by Building Champions, the coaching company, with one of my coaches, Bill Hart, talking about referrals. And they always say that people are uncomfortable talking about that, but that's such a huge piece of it and something that no one's ever talked about on the show. So I appreciate you bringing it up. No one ever says, hey, you know what, refer those people out. And so I'm kind of excited to roll out of this segment into the credit segment with Mr. Mick Bernard. He'll be talking about secrets about your credit and fixing it up. I'm Todd Bookspan. This is Real Talk. We're here every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on AM 960, The Patriot. We'll also be back with more with Tori Gannon, realtor with United Brokers Group. She's going to give us some more secrets of how to pick out the best realtor. I think we've already gotten a ton of gems. And you can learn more about Tori by going to ToriGannon.com. It's Torey, only one R, Gannon, GANNON.com. We'll back after these messages.
You're listening to Todd Bookspan's Real Talk on Intelligent Talk 960, The Patriot. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Todd Bookspan.
Welcome back to Real Talk, the show that's about you. It's about rebuilding Arizona's housing and credit markets one family at a time. And those of you who know this show know the third segment is all about your credit. And you also know that we bring on none other than FICO certified strategist, Mr. Mick Bernard. And, one thing that he's never, ever done is give away secrets on this show. Well, I guess you have. But let's go ahead, Mick, take it away.
Thank you. So last week, we talked about, does credit repair really work? And I think we established, Todd, established the fact that it does. I think we gave you some concrete evidence.
You did. You were
of
successful
that.
in that. I was a little nervous about that, but you did.
Perfect. So this week, we're going to talk about 5 credit secrets that work. And these are credit secrets that you've never, ever heard of. So we'll start with that. So number 1.
Okay.
Always dispute in writing. The bureaus want you to go online, file the dispute. Now, guess what? You don't have a record of that dispute. Only they do. So if they happen to ignore you or don't respond properly, you don't really have any recourse. So always dispute in writing. Number 2, send your correspondence certified return receipt requested.
But that's expensive and it's hard to do.
Well, you either want results or you don't. So that's why sometimes you hire a professional company that knows all these secrets already.
That's a great thing for you to say, because I forgot to say this segment's brought to you by Credit Strategies. Learn more about the people we trust with our credit by going to 911creditpro.com.
Perfect. Also, send additional documentation to support your position. Don't just send a letter out. Now, if you're disputing items that really should be there, you probably don't have supporting documentation. So we recommend really just dispute the things that should be disputed, the ones that are inaccurate. However, sometimes people want to dispute things just to see if they can't be verified, and because if they can't be verified, they're supposed to be removed according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act.
Well, what about the fact that when someone's applying for a mortgage now, though, you can't have disputes on your credit. So if you've got a dispute, you actually have to call back and undispute it.
Well, sure. So if you have some information on your report that needs to be disputed, you need to take care of the dispute process before you apply for a mortgage.
Right.
Really
and the reason is because when it's disputed, it leaves it out of your credit score, and now Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and FHA, they want to actually see what your real credit
Right.
score is without that dispute.
And there are some other secrets that we can share, but that's probably for next week's show when it comes
Ooh,
to
more
disputes.
secrets in the
More
future.
Secrets. So send additional supporting documentation. For example, I had somebody apply with me a couple of months ago. They got a loan modification, but for whatever reason, it was reporting as a foreclosure.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Got the doc. Guess what? I just simply got the loan modification agreement. She hired my wife to send out the letters. My wife actually owns the company Credit Strategies. Sent out the letters to the agencies. Sent out the letter directly to the bureaus. That's my next secret. I mean, to the creditor. Got it repaired in 1 month. And so
Wait,
now
you pre-gave out the secret. So
I did. So the next one is the next secret is number 3. Dispute it with the credit bureaus and directly with the creditor. Make sure you dispute it directly with the creditor. That's definitely going to help. The number 4, dispute letters. Your new letters will go out every 30 to 40 days, even if you don't get a response. And escalate your letter. In other words, make sure that every time you send another letter out, it's more aggressive. Like for the first letter, you may ask for something to be corrected, but by the time you're in your 3rd or 4th letter, you're demanding it to be corrected, or you're going to take.
It's like you're pounding your fist.
Yes, and you're going to make some threats. You're going to threaten to file complaints with government agencies in some of those letters. So escalate your letters. Now, after the 3rd letter, if you're still sending out letters and continuing that process, you're going to go online and start filing complaints with government agencies. You're going to go to the Attorney General's office. You're going to go to any other government agency. So, for example, if you're disputing something with a bank, you're probably going to go to the FDIC and file a complaint, say they're not reporting something correctly. Because what happens is now you're getting letters, you're sending them to the bureaus, you're sending letters directly to the creditor, and guess what? When you file a complaint with a government agency, they're going to communicate directly with that creditor or the credit bureau. So now those people are getting letters from you, and they're getting letters from the people that run them. And so they start dancing pretty fast.
Hopefully, right?
Pretty fast. So I can tell you, if you follow these 5 secrets, you're going to get results. There's absolutely no question about it. Now,
what if I'm lazy and I don't want to work that hard?
Well, then you'd want to contact Jeannie at Credit Strategies, and she'll handle it for you. And I can tell you, and it's a shout out. Yeah, my wife owns the company. She does all of the work herself personally. They're custom letters. It's a custom approach. You pay as you go. Like I mentioned earlier, this one woman, we fixed her credit. I think she paid like $200, maybe $250. If there would have needed to be additional work done, then my wife would have billed for that. But you don't pay thousands of dollars up front and find out, hey, guess what? I paid you $2,000, but you fixed it in 1 month. No. Over time, you're going to pay a monthly fee for letters that are sent out if they're needed. And hopefully not. Our objective is to get them fixed as quickly as can. All the clients come to her on a referral basis.
I like that. that. So you can learn more about Jeannie at Credit Strategies by going to 911creditpro.com. Again, that's 911creditpro.com.
Those are the 5 secrets, and I'm sure my wife can probably put that in a document. If you'd like that, contact Todd on the off-air line, and we can send you this information in writing.
There we go. Thank you, Mick. That off-air line's 866-252-5252. Again, 866-252-5252. Love to put you in touch with Mick Bernard to answer all your credit questions. And I'm excited to bring back Miss Tori Gannon, Realtor with United Brokers Group, after these messages to talk a little bit more about what's going on in our real estate market. We'll be back in a few.
You're listening to Todd Bookspan's Real Talk on Intelligent Talk 960, The Patriot. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Todd Bookspan.
Welcome to the 4th and final segment of Real Talk, the show that's about you. It's about rebuilding Arizona's housing and credit markets one family at a time. I want to say welcome back on this busy Saturday. Hope you're having a great day. Kind of excited to bring back none other than Tori Gannon, Realtor with United Brokers Group, UBG. Welcome back, Tori.
Thank you.
And I want to say thank you to Mick Bernard for that great credit segment. I love those secrets, and it sounds like maybe there's going to be some secrets in the future.
So we'll have some more secrets next week.
All right, I like that. So I think it's always
secrets
really good.
that you've never, ever, ever heard of.
That's even best. Those are the best kind.
Exactly.
Those are the best kind, because if not, then they're not a secret, right?
True.
Okay. Just making sure we're all on the same page here.
Exactly.
Just making sure we're all on the same page. And so one of the things that we talked about with Tori in the last segment was about really listings and really building a rapport, a relationship with your realtor. I thought you did a great job of reminding people, if they have a great realtor, really, or any business professional they work with, to do a great job referring that person out. I think that one of the things that I think really we see a lot more now with social media and everything out there is just a lot of people shouting out to someone who gave them great service. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, Yelp, things like that, where I'm not to name anything specific, but all of us love to now tell everyone how we feel about the service that we received. And like Mick said, he actually brought up the referral word also. And same thing, if you've had a good experience with their company, then you need to tell your friends and family about it so that it can keep going. So with agents, it is what keeps our business going. I don't spend a ton of money on marketing or being on the radio or anything like that, but I will make sure that I talk to my friends and family and take care of them and make sure they know how important their relationship is with me, and then in turn they hopefully will want to pass that along by giving me a referral to one of their friends or family.
Well, I think that's the key. And so, oftentimes someone might get multiple referrals, and then, they've got to just interview that agent and ask them some questions. So, I mean, if I'm a buyer and I'm thinking about going out and buying a home, and I all of a sudden I actually find 3 potential great agents, what are some good questions that they could possibly ask to know if they've got the right fit?
Well, I don't know if it's as much questions as comfort. I think when you meet with an agent and you talk about the timeline and an agent will tell you their strategies on how they're going to get you into the home, I think having an open conversation about what you're looking for in a house and when you're looking to do it, and the agent's approach to, how often they're going to take you out to look at homes or what their strategy is to get your contract accepted are big questions, I guess, big conversations to have. And then it's a comfort level with that agent, because I think if you're not comfortable sitting in a car with them or following them around for an entire afternoon to look at houses, then it's going to continue to go on that way. And for buyers, it is one of the biggest purchases they will ever make in their entire life. So that's rule number 1. Don't rush into your real estate agent. If you're not comfortable, then keep looking and talk to your friends and family and ask for referrals.
Well, I like that. You have to actually like them.
Yes, that is very important. Even if someone's a good negotiator, chances are if you like them, then the agent on the other side will like them. And I think that is really important. I've put a lot of deals together by making a great relationship with the agent on the other side. If you go into, every time we walk into a house and the seller is actually there to show the house, they don't, it's not on lockbox, they're going to be there. We want to make sure we're polite and pleasant and have conversations with these people, because you're going to be doing a very serious business transaction with them. So yeah, in our industry, being professional and being courteous but being nice to each other is huge. And if you have an agent where they maybe have an issue with you, they're probably going to be treating the agent on the other side the same way. So steer clear.
That's a great point.
No mean agents. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. To get along with the other agent could be the difference of having your offer accepted or not.
Yeah, it's huge. Well, and even, everyone you work with, all of you are trying to do the same thing. You're trying to get the house purchased or sold and for these people. And it's a very stressful situation. So if you have an agent who's not making it stress-free or attempting to, then that's a problem. So you want to work with an agent that's going to make sure they go out of their way for all the vendors, and it's a group effort for sure.
Well, and I love that, and it's always interesting to me when we're in a transaction and, we interact with the listing agent and the buyer's agents all of the time from the mortgage side, and I'm always surprised. Like, there's one really big agent who will go nameless in Scottsdale, but every time that we work on one of their listings, it's not an enjoyable transaction to call and give them updates, and they're demanding, and we close all the deals on time, but don't seem like they have any fun, and I kind of question that. I'm like, this should be a fun job.
It is, and it can be, and especially, part of it is too, when you talk to the agent that you're interviewing, ask them about their follow-up process and ask them, how they plan to communicate with you. I think that a lot of the times when agents are in the weeds, that's when you kind of see all of these things come out. But, if you have a system on when you're going to contact your clients and give them updates on the transaction, and right away, my transaction coordinator puts an email out as soon as we open escrow and notifies everyone of everyone's contact information. And everyone gets a big welcome letter and a welcome card. Actually, she's really awesome. She sends out cards and says, wow, we can't wait to work with you. And
We're
Yeah,
not
it's-
that nice.
it
Let's
starts-
start doing that, Nick.
I'm writing that down right now.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's great. Well, we, believing in personal notes and reaching out to other people, it starts a good tone, and then it continues through the transaction. And even reaching out to your, if real estate agents are listening, reaching out to your clients during the transaction and reminding them, hey, this is great. We're going to make this happen, or even just saying how much you appreciate their business goes a long way. So making sure you're with an agent that is treating people the way they should be treated is huge.
I love that. If you're just joining us, that's Tori Gannon, a realtor with United Brokers Group, or UBG. I'm Todd Bookspan. This is Real Talk. We're here every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on AM 960, The Patriot. I'd love to put you in touch with Tori if you have any real estate questions. Certainly if you're looking at buying or selling a home or know somebody who is, give me a call on the off-air number, 866-250-252. Again, 866-250-252. Or go to ToriGannon.com. It's T-O-R-E-Y, just one R, and then Gannon with two N's, Gannon.com. I guess that's technically three N's. But ToriGannon.com. And, I think it's just wonderful to hear. It's refreshing, I guess is the right word in my mind, to hear someone kind of talk through that. I mean, really the business, you need to all be excited to work together. You have to work together to get to the end. And the problem is that when the professionals involved aren't getting along and aren't cooperating together, it just hurts all the clients. I mean, if you're a listing agent and you're grumpy, you're only hurting the person whose house you're selling. If you're a buyer's agent and you're grumpy and you don't get along, you're only hurting your client, the buyer, and that's just not a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be people that are high-strung and stressed out, but I do think it's your agent's approach that makes the difference in the transaction. And this all just seems so elementary, but I think people have to be reminded, it's human nature to freak out when bad things happen, but if you still want the deal to close, then you have to stay calm and start instantly thinking of ways you're going to fix the problem, or if you don't want to call it a problem, you want to just all work together, and instead of approaching it as, oh my gosh, this is all going to blow up in our face, this is, what are we going to do next to all make sure that this gets done? And I think, and this is part of the culture of UBG also that is passed along from our owners and our designated broker, that it's okay, this is what's in front of us, but how are we going to fix it? And my mentor taught me that, and I continue to do that every day with my clients.
Well, it was funny. We had a guest recently, and she said that she knows every transaction is going to have one speed bump, and she's just really grateful when it happens at the beginning of the transaction as opposed to the end. Get it out of the way. And I thought, well, that's kind of, first I thought maybe that's pessimistic. I don't want every deal to have a speed bump in it. But then I said, you know what? It's probably true. If you go in assuming and you brace your client that, hey, there's probably going to be something that's unexpected, then if it doesn't happen, you're all happy. But if it does, then everyone is kind of prepared because, the market's the market, and there's sometimes that things are beyond people's control.
Yeah, I mean, hearing only one speed bump, I feel like a pessimist because I expect numerous, and it's true, you go into it. My initial conversation with my clients is preparing them for all of those things. I mean, you have some big hurdles. When you start with the inspection, of course, lots of things can come up during the inspection, and you can prepare them for those things and then let them know there may be issues with the appraisal, and that comes next, and there may be issues with title and your loan process. It's not always the other side's fault. Sometimes we don't perform, and we want to make sure that we can do everything in our power. And in making sure you set up your clients to know, when I trust this lender, and when the lender asks you for documents, you need to do it in a timely manner. And I think if you have all these conversations, everything works a lot smoother. They're prepared and they're ready to go into it, and they're going to help out title. And
there were so many things there, but the part where you said listen to your lender and provide things in a timely manner, that was music to my ears. How about yours, Mick?
Exactly. Should we repeat that one more time?
Well, the one thing I think we do a great job is preparing our clients for the fact that we're going to need more, and we're going to need more. And ironically, even our more financially astute and complex clients are even more surprised because they have great credit, they've got a lot of money in, but they've got like 16 different businesses, and they wonder why we need all these different things from them. But I'm like, the more complex you are, the more we need, and I have to always remind people of that. So thank you for doing that on the behalf of all lenders who are listening.
Yeah, we just blame the underwriter, No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, we love our underwriters. Kelly, Nico running our operations center. Yeah. You guys are awesome. But it is true. I mean, it is a team effort, and I'm always shocked. Like we talked about appraisal. We recently had one where it was a VA loan, and VA appraisals they're tough appraisals. I mean, the VA appraiser is going to go out there and make sure that there's no deferred maintenance and it meets certain things. And in this case, the property had peeling paint, which is a health and safety issue, and realtor was unhappy that the underwriter pointed out, and then they asked for it to be corrected. The appraiser was grateful because he missed it. It was really big in his pictures, but he had forgotten to write it, so he didn't want to lose his appraisal license. But in the end, the client was mad that they had to paint their fence and it cost $200 to do it. I understand all of that. They were just trying to get out of the house, but in the end, it provided a better end product for the buyer, and in the end, it met the VA guidelines of the financing they agreed to accept. And I understood everyone's frustration with having to do it, but in the end, it was the right thing to do and necessary to get the transaction closed.
Yeah, it is great. And going into it, that goes back to making sure your house is prepped and ready to go. If you're going to offer to have new financing and have loans that are going to require that, then your agent really needs to prep you that those things may come up, including all the warranted items and all of those things, and to make sure that your agent's going to explain what that means. And so it sounds like they got it taken care of and everything got fixed.
They did, and it closed and everything. It closed and everything, and in fact, it was ready to go ahead of schedule still. But nonetheless, it was just one of those things where the agent was grumpy about it. And I thought, you know what, there's no reason to be grumpy. Let's all just get this done. It's required. There's nothing we can do at this point unless the client's not paying cash.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of interesting that, as we kind of talk through this, that, again, people, as you're listening, I want you to understand, you need a realtor like Tori who actually understands what's going on, is going to take the time to give you the insight and really not get frustrated when the speed bumps come along. I think that's just a crazy thing. Have you seen anything? We talked about the fact that the market's changed, and you said that some houses are going fast and some are going slow. Have you seen any odd reactions from a seller whose house has been sitting out there and wondering why, when your client's putting an offer in, it may not be exactly what they were expecting?
Oh, that's a tough one. On the opposite side of that, I actually recently had a listing that went really fast, went day one on the market and got an over asking price. And people are people, and they're going to have emotional responses. And they actually, even though they got an awesome offer over asking, decided day two that they didn't want to sell their house anymore. And so, yes, you get interesting responses no matter what the situation is. And I'm always open to learn new ways to deal with someone's house who's sitting on the market a long time. It's a really hard position, but always listening to the feedback. And again, if agents are listening, to give feedback about the listings that they go see so that we can all work together to get our listings sold. If an agent tells me an issue, I'll make sure that I go put in air freshener or whatever it is. So it's a group effort, and it'll all be better if we all work together.
Well, there we go. That's
totally.
That's a perfect bow to put on a great show. I want to thank Tori Gannon, Realtor with United Brokers Group. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I want to thank Mr. Mick Bernard as well for his credit segment. I want to encourage all of you to go out to ToriGannon.com, ToriGannon.com, or just give me a call on the off-air number, 866-250-252. Again, 866-250-252. Certainly, if you're thinking of buying or selling a home or know someone else who is, Tori would be a great offer. We'll be back next week with more of Real Talk from 2 to 3 p.m. right here on AM 960 The Patriot. I'm Todd Bookspan, and I'm out of here. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for listening to Todd Bookspan's Real Talk, brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. To learn more, visit realtalkarizona.com.